guys, welcome to everybody. Just to do the housekeeping to start with, just phones on silent, otherwise you'll be up here doing a few burpees. So leave those phones on silent. It's a little bit cold, so try and stay warm. We've got water. Yeah, that's not going to keep you warm, but what I'm here to do is introduce this guy. Now, my name's Tim Neal, for anybody who doesn't know of me. I've been in the industry for over 10 years now, and it's a wonderful industry, and I love health and fitness just like Michael Keon does. And I've had the pleasure to be working with him over those 10 years for a number of those years, and just recently, nice and closely. So I got to know this guy very, very well, and two words spring to my mind when I think about Michael Keon. One is passion and one is enthusiasm. Now, I'm sure most of you guys know him personally like I do. Isn't he the loudest man in the world? And that's beautiful, you know why? Because that brings passion. He's so passionate about this industry. He's so passionate about helping us, each and every one of us, get the most out of life through health and fitness. It's my absolute pleasure to be able to work with him and to introduce Michael Keon, the Paleo Warrior. Give him a hand.
Thanks, Tim. That was absolutely fantastic. So Tim has spoken about the house rules. I'll add to that. If you need to go to the toilet, down the corridor to your left, don't stay in there too long checking Facebook status updates. Come straight back, because there's a lot of content I'll be revealing that you guys are going to want to jot down. Thirdly is questions. Now, you know, I do a lot of seminars outside of the gym, and they go for a whole day, because the topics that we cover are so in-depth, and I have 2 hours to present this seminar to you guys. So when you ask questions, stick to the topic. If you want to ask, like Michael, you know, is coffee good for fat burning, or how do I get a skinny bum, or what's the best exercises for fat loss, save that till the end when I do my parking lot session, which is going to go for 15 minutes, and you guys can throw any question you want at me. Also, the answers that I'm going to give you are going to be pretty straight and direct to the point. They're going to be short, okay? I'll try and explain it as easy as possible to you guys, and, you know, we'll go from there, okay? So, one more housekeeping rule. Now, I'll start this by quoting Mark Twain. Now, I love this saying. This is so good. Don't let your schooling interfere with your education. So, I hope none of you have gone to school and gone and done your academic stuff and get your head welded shut, because it's going to be very hard to learn what I'm about to explain to you. Because this stuff here is so lateral and so left field from conventional wisdom. The only thing that's oh my God about this seminar is you guys probably saying, oh my God, this guy's absolutely crazy. Okay? So have an open mind, don't have a closed mind. If you don't understand something, ask questions and I'll explain it to you. Okay, so 6 steps to an Oh My God Body seminar. Now, as you can guess, it's to do with aesthetics. So, you know, we all want to look good. We all want the best body. But allow me to preface this seminar and say that this workshop is not just about how to get the best six-pack and all this aesthetic stuff. It's about health as well. Because I've been in the industry long enough, and I've trained over hundreds of clients, from bodybuilders to high-end executives earning over 200 grand a year to the general public. And I hear the same thing over and over again. Michael, how do I get the best six-pack? How do I get the biggest biceps? How do I get a lean lower body? How do I get massive? Bro, I hear that all the time. How do I get massive? And it's like, where does the health come in? Only a small percentage of people consult with me. I consult with so many people, and only a small minority really say, Michael, I want to get healthy. I want my insides to be clean. I want to live a healthy life. So this seminar, bear in mind, is about aesthetics and how to transform your body, but it all starts with health. Because that's the failure point. That's where people mess up. That's where people don't succeed. It's when you're completely fixated on an aesthetic goal with no regard to health. You with me so far? Fantastic. So let's get into my story. So this picture will explain it. Now, you may be tripping out a little bit when you're looking at this, but allow me to explain. So if anyone remembers this picture, this is Neo in the Matrix. So if you haven't seen the Matrix, I'll explain it to you. But basically, this guy, he's an ordinary man, and he's living his life, but you know, something is going on, something is not quite right. Something just doesn't feel right with his life. Okay, and anyways, long story short, he meets this man and he says, you know, you can either take the blue pill and you can stay in Wonderland and you can, you know, stay where you are, nothing will change it. You can take the red pill and you can go down this rabbit hole and find out more about what's going on, why you're not feeling right. And my journey through the industry has kind of been like this, because when I started as a personal trainer and a health coach, this was what we learned at personal training school. So this is, just look at this. I'm sure you can relate dearly to this. So what I was taught, and this is also portrayed by the government and other health authorities, this is what I was taught in personal training school to get someone to lose weight and get healthy. It was to avoid saturated fat. It was to expend more calories than you take in. It was to eat 3 square meals a day or 5 to 6 small meals to boost your metabolism. Okay? Avoid foods high in cholesterol because cholesterol gives you heart attacks. Okay? It leads to atherosclerosis, build up a plaque in your arteries, and you get a heart attack. So stay away from high cholesterol foods. And then this was a big one. Cardio is best for weight loss with some weight training. Okay, so that's what I was taught on how to get someone to lose weight and get healthy. Now, if we were to narrow it down, foods to eat. So, and we still hear this today, healthy whole grains, cereals for breakfast, lots of fruit and veggies, lean meats, low-fat dairy, soy foods, and don't forget to pop your multivitamins in the morning. That was the framework I was taught. And I believed this, okay? And so for my first few years, I was taking clients through this. People would say, Michael, I want to lose weight. I want to get a six-pack. You know, I want to change my body. So this is what I'll prescribe to them. Saturated fat is the enemy. Exercise your ass off so you expend more calories than you take in. Eat 3 square meals a day or eat 5 to 6 more meals to boost your metabolism. This was all what I was giving people. Okay, now, this is a typical diet of this was a food diary. I dug this up in my archives. This was from, I think, my second or third year from a client called Ian. And he gave me, this was his food diary. And I happily agree with it. I'm like, mate, this is so good. I don't even need to tell you what to do because you're doing everything right. So let's take a look at this. This is what a typical client of mine was eating through my first or second year. This is what I prescribed to them. So 7 a.m., oats with bananas, cup of coffee with milk, okay? So oats seems to be one of the, the health foods that we say, what's healthy to eat for breakfast? Oh, eat some oats. Oats are healthy. 9:30 a.m., he has a skinny latte with 1 sugar, because skinny lattes make you skinny, right? Because, that's what they call skinny. They make us skinny. There's no fat in there. So he has a skinny latte, 1 sugar. Because, there's no fat in there, but sugar's all right. Okay, I'll just put 1 sugar in there. 1 p.m. he has Subway. Now this wasn't in the food diary, but I put that there. Remember Jared? Because Jared lost. Remember that guy on the advertisement? Yeah. I'll leave it at that because I want to swear about how crap that is. But we'll just say that people were eating Subway and so was he because Jared lost weight, right? 2:30 p.m. he has a very light yogurt, so a low-fat yogurt. Okay, so he's following the whole low-fat diet. Okay, he's staying away from all the fat, and he has a granola bar. So that's one of those. Like energy protein bar things, granola bar, and he has another skinny latte. Now by 7 p.m. he finally eats some protein, so he's got beef teriyaki stir fry with basmati rice because, basmati rice is low GI. Okay, then around 9 p.m. he has whole wheat biscuits with a slice of cheese because whole wheat biscuits are low in fat and they're healthy whole grains. Okay, now that's a typical diet of a client I would deal with, and I was happy with that at that time, my first and second year. Now, let's get back to the story. So, I trained many clients and weird things started happening. There were strange things that started happening. So, I was prescribing this diet, lots of cardio, a little bit of weight training, stay away from fat, high carb, follow the food pyramid, blah, blah, blah. And, people were going down on the weighing scale a little bit. The numbers were going down a little bit. But the fat in the midsection wasn't leaving. Midsection fat wasn't leaving. In fact, it was getting bigger, okay? And other weird things started happening. They started gaining their weight back on the weighing scale. They felt unhealthy. They felt tired all the time. And body fat wasn't losing. They were getting smaller, okay? But there was still a lot of body fat going on. And this happened over client after client after client. And I started getting really frustrated because there were times where I would put a client on the weighing scale and they would go into tears because they hadn't lost any weight on the weighing scale. The numbers wouldn't go down. And you can imagine me, my first year as a PT, feeling how it feels to somebody. Crying in front of you because their numbers didn't go down on the weighing scale. It's my fault, isn't it? Probably was. But just wait till we get deeper into the seminar because what you're about to see here, see this and see this? This is the problem. This is the problem right here. This whole message. Okay? So, anyways, back to my story. So at that point in time, I was a very frustrated young personal trainer, okay, after my 1.5 years, okay? So, because clients were leaving me, I wasn't making money, business wasn't good because I wasn't getting people the results. Okay, so I had a choice. I could either say, I could either do the whole blue pill method and say, you know what, I'm just going to stay in Wonderland. I'm just going to stay here. I'm not going to investigate. I'm just going to take it how it is, follow this advice from governments and personal training schools, and say, this is the card that has been dealt to me, and I'm not going to do anything about it. But I didn't do that. I did the red pill method, and I decided to go down the rabbit hole. I decided to investigate. I decided to say, what the hell is going on? Because clients aren't getting results, I'm losing business, and things are just not right. Why are people losing weight? Why is their fat still staying on their body? Why do they feel like crap all the time? And I have to find out what the hell was going on. Okay? Now, through a journey, I've travelled around the world. I've learned from some of the best, people around the world. And I'll tell you what, if you want to find the truth about nutrition and health, don't look in magazines. Don't go to... I'll leave that one out, actually. I'll say that. Don't look in magazines. Don't go to your doctor, okay, because he'll give you some sort of pill to take. It's funny the world we live in. It's like we can just solve our problems with a pill. If my butt itches, I have a pill for you. If my hair's falling out, I have a pill for you. If my left toe is bigger than my right pill, I have a toe for you. I have a pill for you, sorry. Getting a bit excited. So don't go to your doctors, don't go to magazines, okay? Don't follow the food pyramid, you're not going to find it there, okay? You have to look very hard and deep, okay? Because the truth is hidden, okay? Now, let's just go through some of the game-changing things that I found out in my journey to find out about what the truth is about health and nutrition. Because this all ties in with getting an oh my god body. So the first game-changing thing that I learned, game-changing bit of information, was about this hormone called insulin. Okay, now my clients in this room, you know a lot about this already because I've drilled this into you. But for those of you who don't, so I started coming across content and information and studies on this hormone called insulin. Okay, now insulin is a hormone that's released by a gland called the pancreas. Okay, now can anyone tell me what stimulates insulin? Can someone tell me what stimulates insulin? Sugar can... What's sugar? Carbohydrates. Okay, so insulin is regulated through the consumption of carbohydrates. Okay? Now, that was the first game-changing bit of information that I learned. Okay, because the USDA food pyramid tells us to eat grains, rice, pasta, cereals, bread 6 times a day. Okay? Now, things started to click. Okay, I'll get onto insulin pretty soon. Now, the next game-changing bit of information that I came across was the fact that we were told to fear saturated fat. So what's the type of fat that we predominantly use over the last sort of 2 decades? It was omega-6 polyunsaturated fats, vegetable oils, hydrogenated oils, stuff that's low in cholesterol. Okay? Now, what I learned was something very interesting, was that these type of oils and fats, when entered into the blood, oxidize very quickly inside your body, so they react to heat very quickly. Okay, so I won't get into the whole nitty-gritty stuff about fats, but this was really interesting because the vegetable and seed oil is so huge. It's a multi-billion-dollar company, billion-dollar business. And when I found out about this was really interesting because we blame saturated fat and cholesterol for heart disease. But little did I know that these type of fats that predominantly what the general public use, vegetable oils, seed oils, corn oil, soy oil, all that kind of stuff, canola oil, this stuff oxidizes very quickly in the body. So it enters the body, it reacts with oxygen, and it causes inflammation. Okay? And inflammation of the arteries is what causes the heart attacks. Okay? Now, next thing I found out was cardio training. Now, when we do cardiovascular training, now there's many different types of cardio. There's a type of cardio where I see 90% of members here where they come in, they jump on a cross trainer or a treadmill, and they walk for half an hour and they watch Bold and the Beautiful on the big flat screens here. Okay? And that's one type of cardio. Okay? Well, that's not training. Just understand that. Okay? If you're going to come in and watch TV and walk on a treadmill, I don't know what's going on with that. Okay? Now then there's cardios where you run marathons, where you run for long distances, then there's, high intensity interval training cardio. But what I learned is steady state cardiovascular training, which is something that we do for, it's very common here, stresses the body out, particularly because when our heart rate is elevated for a long period of time, you tell your body something. Remember, everything you do in your life, you're telling your body something. Okay, there's a hormonal impact that it has. Now, cardiovascular, I'm referring to steady state cardio training. So jog on the treadmill for half an hour, cross trainer half an hour, 45 minutes, cardio classes, things like that. What it does is it elevates a hormone called cortisol. Now, cortisol is a hormone related to the fight or flight response in the body. So if a lion came in here right now, we would all be running and shitting ourselves and screaming because our fight or flight response would be through the roof. Okay? Mother Nature gave us the fight or flight response to save ourselves, to either fight the danger or to flee. Okay? And that's in response to a hormone called cortisol. Okay? So what I started realising was that when you're doing cardio all the time, and you're doing steady state cardio, you're doing chronically, you're elevating cortisol all the time. So you're telling your body that you're running from a lion all the time and that you're in danger. And what does the body do when you're in danger? It holds on to the most energy-dense macronutrient possible, which is fat. Remember, fat means survival. We had ice ages, and pineapples and whole wheat bread and wheat bix did not grow on ice. Okay, we were eating animals and we were carnivores. We were eating fat. Fat kept us alive. Okay? Now, fat is 9 calories per gram. Okay? So it's the most energy-dense macronutrient in the body. Your body wants to hold on to that when it thinks it's in danger. So if you're running all the time, and you're doing cardio all the time, you're just telling your body, you're just in danger. And what does it do? It holds fat, especially in the midsection, because that's a safety backpack, that area, and it starts burning muscle for energy. First goes through your carbohydrates, then it starts burning muscle. Because when you're running from a lion, or dinosaur or whatever, who knows what was happening back then, but when you're running from danger, your body wants to make you as light as possible. Because if you're some massive bodybuilder dude, you're not going to get pretty far from a lion because you're holding all this muscle. So the body's going to use all its carbohydrates, then it's going to tap into your muscles, okay, and then it's going to store fat, okay. Now this was really interesting. This was really, really interesting, okay. Now, the last one I would say game-changing information I came across was the saturated fat myth, okay? Now, this was really interesting because this is it here. We've all been told to fear saturated fat, which is pretty much animal fat, okay? We've been told to fear saturated fat. Why is it that for 2.6 million years, agriculture only happened 10,000 years ago? We've been on this earth millions of years, but let's just put 2.6 on the scale here, right? We were eating animals, every bit of the animal. We were eating liver, kidneys, we were carnivores, okay? We were eating fat, okay? Because fat meant survival, okay? If you go out into the hunter-gatherer tribes, you will see them eating protein and fat. Saturated fat is not feared when you go out into tribes that are away from the white man and Western society. Okay. Now it was really interesting because if we've been on this planet for however millions of years and we've been eating saturated fat for millions of years, okay, and we had an ice age where basically nothing, no fruits and plants grow on ice. You have to eat animals pretty much, okay, and we eat fat to survive. Now, all because some dumb scientist by the name of Ancel Keys decides to say saturated fats are bad, okay, and that completely shifts the whole paradigm of how we see nutrition, okay? So, one thing I realised was that saturated fat is a structural component. It's what our cells are made out of. Our cells are made out of saturated fat, okay? Things weren't making sense. Okay, so this was over a good 2 to 3 years. Okay, and this really changed everything. Okay, now this is all in here. Now, basically, this was the message that finally struck me like a slap in the face. We have been screwed. Okay, insulin is stimulated by carbohydrates. Okay, foods such as whole grains, sugar. All low-fat stuff with sugar in it, bread, pastas, cereals, stimulate insulin, and when insulin becomes high, it shuttles fat into your fat cells and locks it in there. Omega-3 polyunsaturated fats oxidize very quickly under heat, and they cause inflammation all over your body. Cardio training, when done chronically, elevates stress responses, tells your body to